Welcome to this daily guided meditation practice. This is the Attentive Mind. My name is Nathan, and I'll be guiding you through this meditation practice today. Find yourself a seated position. Any position works, but really you just want to find one that's comfortable and sturdy. You don't want to be uncomfortable because then you'll be distracted by your body during the practice. It makes it a little bit more difficult than it needs to be. You also want to find yourself a sense of stability, because then you're less likely to think about thoughts about, okay, what am I going to do after this meditation practice? I got to do this and then get to the next thing and then worry about this and that. So really, you want a sense of stability that you are here to stay and a comfortable body. So sitting in a chair achieves that goal. Lying down actually achieves that goal. Just don't fall asleep. Just find what works for you. We also keep our eyes open during this practice. But if you have learned to practice with your eyes closed, or you feel more comfortable doing so, go ahead and do that. There are no hindrances here. But if your eyes are open, leave the screen alone and drop your gaze gently down below you, either looking at the floor or the desk or whatever's just below you. We're not staring or analyzing at a particular spot, but we're also not zoned out and blurry. We have a gentle gaze directed softly and clearly downwards. You're in a nice, comfortable, and sturdy position, and your eyes are either closed or open, gaze directed softly and gently down. Just settle here and let everything be exactly as it already is, right now. Release control. There's nothing you have to do. Just leave it and rest. But maybe you find this a bit difficult because you notice that the habit to control, of wanting to gain something from practice, wanting to make our circumstances in a particular way that we like, that habit is strong. And it interferes with our ability to just let it all be. But this habit of wanting to control, what is it? Can you see that this habit of wanting to control things exists completely as thoughts, ideas, and opinions? This need for things to be the way we want them to be is only an existing thing as thoughts. Notice how everything already is without demand. Sounds are, the body is, tastes, sights, it just all is. And it doesn't ask anything, it doesn't demand anything. Only thoughts demand. Thoughts want to control. But we can't control what happens. Which is why this sense of control is why a big reason for our psychological suffering. So just come back. What is here? Let it be. And if you're normal, I'm probably catching you in the middle of a thought. Maybe it wasn't a sense of controlling, but you were thinking about dinner, or a video, or some argument you had. And notice when you are lost in thought, this moment as it is, as we leave it alone, is lost. Because we're off in our head to some fantasy. So, a way to help us bring our attention back to this moment, where we always are, and away from the thoughts, is to just bring our attention to something easy to notice. Something that only happens in the present moment, which is, of course, the breath. Take a deep breath in through your nose and let it out slowly through your mouth. And pay attention to where you're feeling the breath the most. And as you breathe out, gently settle your attention, your awareness, on the place you notice the sensations of the breath. Return back to normal breathing and just stay with it. Instead of paying attention to this next thought, remain gently and easily and effortlessly with the breath, rising and falling. And maybe I'm catching you thinking again. It's amazing how quickly we forget the task of remaining with breathing. This is why we suffer, because we're not in contact with reality. We're always playing games and attentive to our thoughts. So just come back. Return to breathing over and over again. And allow your thoughts to think what they want to. We're not shutting them off. We're not quieting our thoughts. We're allowing them to be as well. Our only job is to remain with the coming and going of the natural breath. Come back. Come back to breathing. Wake up. Wake up from thinking. Return to breathing, rising and falling. This little voice, this little voice in the head, always chattering, controlling, destroying your life. Why do you think you are this voice? When I say you, what is that referring to? There's something that notices the voice in our head. There's something that hears my voice right now. What is that? What is it that thoughts are talking to? What is it that notices thinking? If thoughts can be noticed, then how can we be our thoughts? Turn the attention back. What are you? What hears this voice? If you think you've found something, that's not it. Look carefully. All right, you can look at the screen. There's a great book, and I'm sure you've heard of it. It's called the Tao Te Ching, written by Lao Tzu a long time ago. I think before Christ, but very, very long time ago. And if you haven't read it, you should. It's an amazing book about what Lao Tzu calls the way, or the Tao, the way things are. And the more we live in accordance to that, the less suffering we have. You can almost analogize the Tao to a great river. That we're all in this river and it's moving in one direction, whether we like it or not. And most of us spend our lives swimming against the stream. We're doing this trying to control the flow of the river. We don't like that all of a sudden there's bad weather. We don't like that all of a sudden I have a sickness I have to deal with, or this happens. We don't like that we don't have control of the way things happen. So we worry. We worry and think that that worry is helping the situation when it does nothing for it. So regardless if you're swimming up the stream, if you're trying to swim against the river, or you're going with it, you're still taken by the river. There's nothing we can do. So the Tao is the river, and the suggestion, of course, is to stop struggling. Let it take you. Go with the stream. And once you learn the way the stream is going, the way things are happening, then you can actually use it to your advantage because you're going with it, not against it. You cut the wood with the grain, not against the grain. And so our sense of control really is this attitude of resisting what is. It's not having faith in the way things are. We resist completely and then worry that we won't be able to handle what happens. We catastrophize through this sense of control. It's like this hyperfixation on life. Now, I say this because this is really a lesson for myself. In fact, a lot of the times I speak here, I'm almost talking to myself with this. Because you can drive yourself mad, absolutely in suffering, by trying to control what you can't control. So release control. And notice what you can control, which is our attitude towards things. That's really it. This practice is wonderful because the sense of control comes from thinking. And when we learn to leave thinking alone, that voice of strength, of worry, of frustration, of I don't want it to be this way, isn't as influential. We see it as this thing that's always been going on. And we can leave it alone and go with life rather than against it. A great practice, and this comes from Stoicism, is to just begin your day by recognizing the things that are out of your control and then saying to yourself, okay, that's over there. There's nothing I can do. Recognizing that. And when things happen, recognize, do I have control over this? No, leave it alone. Now that's hard because we're so habituated to trying to control it. But it's essential to learn to separate what you can and can't control. And the things you really can control, it's just your attitude. It's just how we approach the situation. And really, if you're lost in thought and overthinking, it's not going to help. Learning to be free from thoughts allows us to see the situation as it is and to act accordingly, not based on fear and based on these kind of emotions. So release control. Having faith means having faith in the way things are, not having faith in your beliefs. Having faith in the way things already are and going with it. Then you can finally rest. Because when you go with the stream, you notice everything is still. When you go against the stream, everything's rushing past you and fighting you. But you go with it, you're still. And you're at rest. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for showing up. And as always, and without exception, I'll see you tomorrow.